Oh, bloody hell. Now, is it better now? Do I have sound now?
I don't know.
We're about to find out. I'm sorry about this, guys. Technical difficulties with my new setup here.
Yeah, you got sound now.
Okay, we have
Good.
sound now. Beautiful. Sorry about that, guys. So let me start over. Hello, everybody. The DUI guy is back once again. Here we are. Okay, now we got sound. I'm sorry. This is a new setup, as you all can obviously see. I was actually just telling you about that, so this is a good segue into telling you everything I just told you when you guys couldn't hear me. We no longer have the office. We have moved out of that old location, and we'll be remote for the time being. We do have something very, very special in the works with the new office, so we're not there yet. This is the setup that you're going to be seeing for the time being. Um, as you can see right above me, we have a guest speaker, which we'll be getting into talking to him in just a little bit. LackLuster is joining us, and
Exciting.
I hope you all enjoy. This is there's a lot of changes happening right now, both in the firm and with my life. So this is gonna be like a very good and interesting segue into what the future holds. So. Without further ado, Lackluster, do you mind introducing yourself to the public, those who don't know
No,
you?
no, not at all. And while I do, some of the chat is asking if you can turn up the audio on your end for the stream. But yeah, I'm Lackluster. I'm the guy behind that voice in the video. I used to actually put my face on the video, so some of you probably recognize me. But this is what I look like now. And hi, good to see you. Make videos about bad cops.
Okay, let me. Sorry, you guys. This is gonna take me a minute. Can you all hear me better now?
Someone said that's better. How's my audio?
Can you all hear Lackluster?
All right, they say it's good.
Okay, there we go. I am so sorry about this. It's gonna take
Beautiful.
me a minute to get all set up. Sorry you're having to deal with this, Lackluster.
That no, that I totally understand. I just recently moved my studio as well. In fact, multiple states. We moved the whole family, so having to reset your your settings in a studio as far as just the simplest things is volume during a live stream. Everything changes for some reason. You put a computer in a box, and by the time you get it wherever you're going, it's no longer the same computer you left with.
That is absolutely true, man, and I can totally relate. I was thinking when now it's low volume again. People are saying say it again, like Lester. No, well, I'm not gonna make you do that. Let me try something here. Let me try and get this speaker operational.
Yeah. Is let me know in the chat. Is my volume
Just
good?
keep talking, Lack. Yeah.
Talking. Mic check. Kevin Coburn says it's fine. What's up, good citizen? So Justin, Douglas, James, Rebecca, Tress or Tres. That's worse now. Echo. Double audio for me.
Double audio for Lackluster. Okay.
It was good till you added the echo.
Is there still an echo?
Is there still an echo? Mic check, mic check. Let's see a response here. Just a moment. Is there still an echo on me? Echo seems to be gone. Oh, yes, still an echo. Echo gone. No, but low. Now my volume's low.
Okay. Okay. Let me try something else. Um. Let me try this.
No, normally, I would have been the one to stream this, but having moved the family, we are now in a place where our upload speeds are less than 3 megabits, and it is insanely slow. So I would never be able to stream until maybe Elon Musk hits me up with some Starlink. He's streaming with XSplit.
Yeah, I'm using XSplit as my streaming service or streaming platform.
You had it perfect when you first made the first change. Better now. There we go. All right.
Okay, so cool. Maybe headphones is the solution. Now it's just weird because I can hear myself like I'm in a very, very large empty room. Because it's very sensitive, and like I can, even if I tap this a little bit, it sounds like my ears are about to explode.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'll deal with it. But anyway, I think we finally fixed it. So thank you, chat, for the input. Thank you, LackLuster, for bearing with me while I'm going through this technical BS.
Of course.
You said you recently moved to a new studio. How's that going for you?
That's going great. And in fact, so I guess I'll start off with I wish that I had the ability to share my computer screen with you guys, because I save all the death threats, and I've got a folder that I screenshot, and for some reason they all come from Facebook. I don't know why, but they love using Facebook Messenger, which links me directly to their personal account. So that's great. But I usually get between 1 and 2, sometimes 3 or 4 death threats a day, if not necessarily death threats, but some sort of threat. And so I save them, and I get pictures of their profile and their families and all sorts of stuff in these nice little files. And but anyway, my wife has a YouTube channel as well, and she was getting some death threats through her email, and a few of them had our phone numbers and addresses. So we picked up and left, and now even if you did find my address, it doesn't come up on Google Maps, which is cool.
That's good for you.
And yeah, hid it through layers and layers of stuff. I'm sure if somebody really wanted to, they'd find us. But so we haven't even
hard enough, I guess.
Told, yeah. If you really want me dead, you can get it to happen. But
I hope it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean I think it's just people who have been propagandized through TV shows like Cops and A&E and whatever show, Body Cam and Live PD and all that stuff, that have just seen good cops, the DARE program, and cops are good, and government is your number one ally. People who can't break away from the nanny state, and they see somebody, and it becomes a religion. I don't know if anybody in chat knows Larkin Rose, but he has a video called "Statism is the Most Dangerous Religion," and it's true, because some of these people act on their beliefs about the state, and specifically police for some reason, and police specifically on the conservative side, but they bootlick so hard that in such a religious way that if you offend it in any way, shape, or form, you are now enemy number one. And
wow.
it gets, yeah. So things get crazy, and some of the threats we considered to be viable and real threats. So we took off and hid, and now I'm working out of this little bedroom in our new property, but I am building an actual studio with the full isolation booth. And so I know a lot of people say my audio is really good in the videos. It's this mic. Gotta get one.
Oh wow, that is a professional mic if I've ever seen one.
These are great.
I love that. You got to stand for it and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, if you think the audio is good, now it's going to get even cleaner. So right now I spend about an hour on my audio every day, just on audio. Not even, that's before I do any video editing. But once I have that ISO booth, hopefully I won't have to spend that hour. So we'll see. but yeah, building a new studio too. I'm looking
Right.
forward to your new office.
That's I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I said I'm looking forward to your new office.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, yeah. The new office is gonna be very different, very different.
Yeah,
So the location that you have seen when we were on that Zoom call a few days ago, I was saying, Chad, I was saying to LackLuster that he's actually the last person. Since you guys haven't seen me in a live stream in about, oh, it feels like 2 weeks now. It's been so long. It's just so much stuff has been going on. So many changes are happening, and I'm just trying to keep up. And sometimes it's not possible to find the time. And like I said, my studio was disassembled
yeah.
about a week ago, so I lost that, and now I'm barely hanging on to this. As you can obviously see, it took me like 12 tries just to figure out how to make it work. But I was saying Lackluster was the last one that saw the actual the old studio, so that's gone forever. Now, obviously, I'm going to have my diplomas back up in the new place once we actually move, but that is still yet to be determined when and how that's going to happen. So, but stay tuned. I mean, it's only a matter of time. The only question is when. But yeah, well, I'm very excited. But Lackluster, I wanna come back to you. Tell us. I'm sure the viewers are very curious. How did you get that channel started, and when did you start it? I mean, right now you are mastering almost what, 250,000 subscribers. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's
On YouTube.
on YouTube. You have subscribers
Yeah.
elsewhere.
On Facebook, I have another 250,000, and then TikTok I haven't mastered yet. I haven't figured out TikTok's algorithm, but like 30 or 40, I don't remember. Instagram, I'm totally lost on. I can't get above a couple hundred. I have no idea of how to work Instagram. Uh,
Yeah, tell
but
us
yeah,
about how you got started.
well, I've started quite a few businesses in my life, and like I used to make these silicone chocolate molds for uh, like CBD and THC candy bars and stuff. So I was in like the 3D printing and CNC world, and then I was kind of bored of it, so I started this credit repair company, and it made really good money, but it was really boring, and I hated it. And one day I got an offer to sell that business, so I sold it, and then I had no idea what to do with my time. And I played this game called Clash Royale. It's a mobile phone game, and I was watching these other YouTubers, and they have these um, tutorials basically on how to play the game better. I was like, oh, I could do this. I've edited video before just as a hobby, so I started a gaming channel, and and it did really well until the first adpocalypse. Are you familiar with the adpocalypse?
I'm guessing that's when
It's like,
they decided to monetize these games and
no,
no.
it was all based around PewDiePie. He 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 made a couple jokes about the Third Reich, and
Oh
some
yeah.
the Wall Street Journal actually took them all and put them into like a 3-minute video compilation. It was like, look, PewDiePie's a Nazi
I remember
sympathizer,
that.
and they went to Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all these other brands and said, look, you guys are running ads on a Nazi sympathizer. And I've no comment whether he is or isn't. I haven't watched him in years, but Pepsi, Coke, and P&G, J&J, they all pulled their funding out, and YouTube lost $750 million worth of ad revenue in a single day. And so everybody lost
Wow.
their monetization. It was basically like if you were getting $10 for every 1,000 views, you now got about 30 cents, and it was that big of a decrease. So
Wow.
that's what happened to me, and I kind of left YouTube after making a couple hundred gaming videos, and it wasn't going very well. I mean, I got up to like 25,000 subscribers and was making a decent living doing it, but I left, and I actually started working for Tencent, who is owned by China, and it's basically the Google of China, and they own everything that software related that comes out of China.
Mm-hmm.
Just about any mobile game you play anymore is produced and owned by Tencent. But they hired me to stream on some of their apps playing games. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I had an encounter with a cop. And I'd been watching these First Amendment audits, like Johnny 5-0, James Freeman, Bao. Those were amongst my favorites at that time period. And one of the guys that I streamed with actually lived next door to me. And he sent everybody, like a bunch of our friends, this suicide note. Like, and they were like personalized. It was like, "Dear Dale, thanks for blah, 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 blah. Dear John, thanks for doing all this." And then in some of them, he said he had a gun, he was going to kill himself. So I was like, "Oh my God, I better call the cops. I'm not going to go over there." So the cops came, and yeah. And so that was my lesson, like I called the cops and they turned on me. And luckily I didn't get, cited or hemmed up in any real way. It was just a hey, F you, no F you, hey, no F you type of thing. And I put it up, edited it, put it on YouTube, and then got the body cam. It turned into be like a 4-part series where we exposed CSPD hiding their body cams while they go in for no-knock raids and stuff like that. And then those videos just kept blowing up, so I just sat down with it and ran with it. And luckily I found something that I was passionate about and got to jump onto it. So yeah.
So that's what it started with. It was a personal experience that you had with a neighbor that you began to explore, and when you start digging is when you start finding stuff. And that's when you learn the truth that I learned many, many, many moons ago with respect to body camera, dash camera, any type of camera footage. Sometimes it disappears. I mean, I actually just had a TikTok I posted a couple of days ago where I had that exact issue. I had an officer on the stand saying that I didn't have body camera, and it's more common than you might imagine, where I am convinced it exists. I know it exists, but I can't prove it because they won't turn it over, and they're saying it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's every case, because there really are, like we know, it's common knowledge at this point for me. Believe it or not, the Kentucky State Police here in Kentucky, there are 16 posts. KSP, Kentucky State Police, has 16 posts. I don't know how many cars that amounts to, how many troopers. They're called Kentucky State Police troopers. And let's call it, even if they have 10, which I'm sure they have more, probably 15 to 20. But even if they only have 10, let's say, that amounts to 160 troopers patrolling our roadways. And I'm sure there's more. It's probably closer to 300. And not a single one of them has either a body camera or a dash camera or a hand camera or a shoulder camera. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I asked one of them, why don't you have them? I even had a client. I have a video of a client asking on camera, why don't you have body cams? And they even joke around. They say, "Oh, we can't afford them." I'm like, this is right as he's getting arrested, being charged with a DUI. And I'm like, okay, this may sound like a joke to you, but at the end of the day, and this is the argument that I always get, is, body cameras are really, really freaking cheap.
Yeah.
You can get a body camera probably $20 on Amazon. We can look it up right now.
Yeah.
But that's not their argument. Their argument is it's not the body camera itself, because $20 times, let's say, 300 troopers, that's $6,000. I mean, you cannot tell me the entire Department of Kentucky State Police cannot afford $6,000 as a one-time expenditure. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Don't they claim they have to employ somebody to and then pay for the storage and the software and all that kind of stuff, and that's where the real expense is?
And I think that's exactly what I was getting at, is the storage space that is required to maintain all this stuff. Because if you're rolling, I mean, you're not really rolling 24/7 on every single one of these troopers.
Your mic might be low. Your volume, by the way.
My
Sorry,
volume?
I just noticed it in chat. Yes, your mic volume.
Well, if I speak any louder, I'm going to burn my ears. So I think let me. I don't know if I can change this again. I thought everything was fine. You guys are freaking killing me over here. I swear to God. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. I can hear like the ambient noise. Um, I wanna do it more on the computer. Or maybe I can lower this, raise this. I don't even know, man. This is killing me.
Well, I'll get you hooked up on my setup. It's about $1,000 for the mic setup, but it's
this
worth
is
it. You can do everything with it.
this mic is really really good. This is the mic I've been using, and everybody was saying like I'm too quiet. I'm too loud. Sorry, on my previous setup. So don't be fucking with me like that. Maybe it is just you, Dub. Everybody
Volume's
seems to be
fine.
saying it's fine.
DUIs.
All right, it's just you. Don't scare us like that. You're really killing me over here. Anyway, so body cameras. DUI guy just can't afford a proper microphone. Apparently, that's what the word on the street is.
Yeah.
But compared to me, I'm just one guy. I'm talking about an entire police department who cannot. Here's the mind blowing thing here, Lackluster, is that this is not even for the citizenry so much as to also protect the officers themselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
To
think about it.
justify a shooting or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly, like a shooting. Exactly.
Hmm.
Imagine a police officer having an encounter with a citizen, and they have to end up using deadly force, and now it is their word against witnesses if they have any, or their word against nobody.
Yeah.
And if they had camera footage now, we all know that sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes officers lie. I've almost never seen it before. Like it's very uncommon, but it does happen. I've so heard from other people,
Hmm.
and it never ever ever happened to me in open court, except a few hundred times. But the interesting thing is if they, and I think that's what they're hiding behind. Honestly, they're hiding behind this
Yeah.
veil of we can't afford these cameras, when in reality it'll just show so much. Because I think they did. There was actually a very brief period where Kentucky State Police did have cameras, and then they quickly took them off. Um,
Oh.
because yeah, I think they were doing some stuff, and they were getting caught in some stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. So it's
Yeah.
there's
Well,
something
it's
to be
funny
said
that
there.
it's funny that they say they can't afford it, and then you look at their yearly sheets and they're getting MRAPs and um, all these the weapons of war, the 40 millimeter,
Hmm.
the grenade launchers and all these less lethal things, and the militarization portion is
Hmm.
fully funded. Well, we can knock down anybody's house, but we can't show you when we do it. Um, but that's another reason why, and I try to say it as often as possible, is the importance of recording your own video is so great. Um, Not only is it free, because I I do a lot of FOIA requests for my videos, and I help people do their own. And just 2 days ago, we got a request for what was it, $2,400 for like 3 hours worth of video, and it's outrageous. So not only is it free for you to record your own stuff, it's immediate. You don't have to wait, and then they can't tie it up in bureaucratic bullshit and say, "Oh, well, you filed an investigation against the officer, so now since there's an investigation, we can't release the body cam footage."
Hmm.
Even if you have an open case and that body cam footage is technically what would you call it? Exculpatory evidence.
Well, right, and it is. Sometimes they claim, and I had this case directly. So the police shooting case, I don't know if you know, we're no longer litigating it. It's up on appeal because we lost
Mm.
on summary judgment to the. I think it was Judge Stivers in the Western District of Kentucky wrote the opinion, which we think is laden with error. That's why we're appealing it. But it was a police shooting case from 2017. My client went on a um, he took a pole and he started breaking car windows. That's all he did. He was
Ah.
high on meth. There's no question that he was high. There's no question he was breaking car windows. It's all on dash cam and body cam. But he got fatally shot because he broke the wrong officer's window.
Mm.
And the cop shot him. And then the video is on my channel, by the way, if you all want to take a look. It's buried. It's been a while since I posted it, but it's somewhere near the bottom. And the officer came up, and under the guise of he is non-compliant, where he was fully compliant, just trying to adjust himself. He has a bullet in him. He's trying to kind of like adjust a little bit. The officer claimed that he was not resisting, but like trying to get up, and he fires a second shot from point blank range. Basically, an execution shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get that happened January of 2017, and here's the screwed up part. So there's clearly body camera video and dash camera video. So dash camera video came from the chief. It's a very, 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 very small town, Fulton County, Kentucky. And so the chief is like one of the patrolees on the street. And then his backup, Buckingham, which is the one that we're essentially alleging the claim against. Everyone else has basically all but dropped off. He's the only one that remains because he's the one that fired both shots personally. In a sense, retired from the force. There was a grand jury that was that convened 4 months later in May of 2017, and they were never shown either video.
Wow.
The best possible evidence was never shown to the people to decide whether or not they're going to indict this cop for murder, manslaughter, murder 2, anything,
Insane.
Involuntary, whatever. It wouldn't be involuntary. That's not possible, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Something. And the trooper we obviously we have the grand jury tape because those are audio recorded, not video recorded. And we got a chance to review that, and we found about 6 or 7 lies that the Kentucky State Police investigator has put into the record that were directly contradicted by the video evidence, which was never shown. And obviously all those lies were supporting the officer's actions, and of course they didn't indict.
Yeah.
And we were asking for this video for about 11 months. And it got to the point where I think by month 7, when it was already like August, we're like, hand us the video. And they're like, well, we can't. It's still a pending investigation, just like you just said.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, what the hell do you mean pending investigation? It's over. What are you investigating? Well, we're still investigating. We'll get back to you. And I was like, no, honey, this is not how it works. And I appealed to, at the time, Andy Beshear was the Attorney General. He's now the governor of Kentucky, but at the time he was the Attorney General. And we appealed to his office, and we said, we need this. They have no right to withhold it from us. And he issued a written opinion, and it's on the internet. You can go and find it. It's public record. All Attorney General opinions are public record. He sided with us, and he said, because they still tried to hide behind the veil of this is a pending action. He was like, no. Grand jury is convened. They did not indict. There's no charges pressed against the officer. The individual is deceased that he shot. Turn it over. And they turned it over, and we finally got it like right before Christmas. It took 11 months.
Wow, it's insane.
So trust me, I know the feeling of how when they do something wrong, they don't want to turn it over. They want to keep it as long as they can, and hopefully, I mean, here's what the government really hopes. Just like any other company that you're trying to get like money back from or whatever, they just hope you're going to give up eventually. And just gonna say, screw it, it's not worth it anymore for me. I don't care. And
that's insane.
It happens enough to where they count on that happening. That's the scariest part.
Well, maybe I can enlist your help for a case. I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's this girl in Idaho. I guess her friend got pulled over, and she was a passenger, but she got out. And in the trunk was this like sign. It was a Blue Lives Matter sign, and she threw it on the ground and stomped on it, like looking at him like, fuck you. She didn't say anything apparently, but stomped on the sign. sign was city property, unfortunately. So she was charged with something about damaging government property, but she was also charged with a hate crime because cops are somehow a protected class in Idaho. I don't know why, but they level with like on the same level as like gender, race, and age, whatever. But peace officers is also on the list. So I've FOIA'd, God, that county, it's Garfield County, I think. It's either Utah or Idaho, I can't remember. But I sent them a request, and then they came back and said, no, you have to do it on this form, which is like not the law. But okay, I'll play game. And so I sent them their form that they wanted. They wouldn't even point me out to where it was. I had to find it myself. And then, so I sent them the form. So then they denied. And
Right.
and then they won't even admit whether or not there's body cam. They won't say yes or no. They said, if there's body cam, we can't release because it's investigation. And I just recently submitted my appeal. So, and I certified it. They should be receiving it either today or Monday. So we'll see.
And you appeal to
whoever they told me to appeal.
Or
I don't know. They gave me a name, and then they didn't even give me an address or anything. They just gave me a name, so I had to look him up on the. I can't remember what his title is, but he's somewhere in the local government right there.
Because I don't think you have to be an attorney to appeal to the attorney general. I don't think you have to be you don't have to be a licensed attorney, if my memory serves. Anybody can request anything from the government, and if the government refuses to turn it over, Joe Citizen can appeal to the attorney general. It's like filing a consumer complaint.
Yeah.
I will not disclose which company this is, even though I really, really freaking want to. But we essentially got swindled. I will say it's an airline company. That's all I'm going to say. You guys can deduce your own. It's one of the lesser known airline companies. Not airline, but sorry, travel agent that help you buy airline tickets. You can buy cheaper airline tickets through. So it's a travel agency company. And since coronavirus, they've been one of those companies who've been trying to keep people's money and arguing that the airline has not fully refunded like the tickets that they purchased on our behalf at a discount price. And we've been arguing with this one company for, what's today, September? 18 months.
Yeah.
Basically, when the corona hit, we were supposed to travel, and we had 4 tickets, spent $3,200 on them. And they've been just trying to swindle. And apparently, I checked Better Business Bureau website. We're not alone. They've been doing it to absolutely everybody. And this is the thing. Remember how we just talked about how most people just eventually give up?
Yep.
And that's what a lot of these people I saw, they were like, okay, fine, screw it. I told them to just give me the whatever money they can back. And I'm like, I can't just give even $1. Because we spoke on the phone. Initially, they wanted a surcharge. I was like, okay, that's fine. I understand you did your work, and I'm not asking for a 100%, even though I think that's what we should receive. So how much do you want? And they're like, it's $200 per ticket. I'm like, you can fuck off. What are you taking $800 for? Your labor, which took you 20 seconds to like get in touch with the airline, say, hey, we need these tickets, and hey, now we need to cancel them. Come on, I'm not paying you $800 for your work. I will give you. So they want a $200 per ticket, $800 total. I told them I'll give you $50 per ticket, $200 total. And the first guy I spoke with, he said yes. This was like April of last year. He acquiesced. He said, yeah, we'll do it. And then they've been dragging their feet ever since. And I could tell you the whole story. It really is ugly. It gets worse and worse and worse. But it ended with a consumer complaint to the Attorney General. So now they're finally getting off their ass, and the offer is starting to get higher and higher and higher by the day.
I get. You know, I'm looking at chat. It sounds like you might be low again. I don't know.
Check my. Oh my
god. How is my audio, everybody? Is my audio still blaring at you? And then Larry's is low.
It's killing me, man. It's killing me. I mean, I would talk louder. I'm just scared that I'm gonna break my ears open.
Oh, people are saying it's good.
Well, it's good now that I'm
maybe I need to get closer. We're gonna turn this thing into ASMR LackLuster. I'm just gonna be talking like this the whole time, and
Yeah. It sounds like you have a good limiter on there. I mean, for me anyway, but I'm using Raycon earbuds trying to get that sponsorship. Let's go, Raycon.
they're not sponsoring me, so stop that. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I haven't been sponsored either. I just like their earphones.
It does say that it's low, a little bit. I don't know, man. This is this is sound. I don't.
Some
need
people
sound
say
on the microphone.
it's good enough. Oh, someone said, "There we go."
There we go. Okay, so I need to talk like this. Basically, this is what I need to do.
Yeah. Well, with this mic, this isn't a cardioid mic. It's a I have to be right up on it when I do my weird voice for the videos.
Get close to the mic. Do you want me to make out with the mic, chat? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Yeah.
They want me to get real close, real intimate to the microphone. The DUI guy sponsored by Beats by Dr. Dre.
Oof.
All right. Where were we? Cameras, mics,
Yeah.
Attorney General.
You know what I wanted to ask? I wrote down a couple questions. Not many, but I was actually kind of curious, like what got you into. Oops, I should not have done that. What did I do? There we go. Okay. I was kind of curious, like what got you into law in the first place? Was it something you always wanted to do, or was it something that like just kind of fell upon you?
So, when I was younger, I was told that education is the most important thing in your life.
As long as it doesn't come from the state.
Huh?
I said, as long as it's not coming from the state. I'm a huge advocate for homeschooling. Sorry.
No. You're fine.
Yeah.
My parents were not. My parents were all about getting a degree, getting a higher education degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, there are several professions that are very well known in humanity to always be available for like a profession that will never go out of style,
Yeah.
I mean, being a chef, for example, accountants. People will always need
medical
accountants, lawyers, doctors. So like all these professions that are available. And I mean, I was a pretty smart kid. I was very, very lucky. I was very, very lucky in the sense that my parents took care of everything for me. I never had to work outside the home until I was basically 25.
Nice.
Which in America is unheard of. You're 18 and your parents are like, get the hell out of there and go learn a trade. Sometimes you start early. You start at like 16 working in a movie theater and all that. Well, my parents didn't want that for me. They sheltered me a lot. And I knew that I was smart enough to get through it, but I knew that I wasn't smart enough to really like excel. So I thought like what is the happiest medium I could find? Because I'm a hedonist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like pleasure. I like being happy.
Most of America. Yeah.
Right. Well,
but
you'd be amazed. Like I'm still a workaholic, but that's because I derive pleasure from my work. That's why I like working.
Yeah.
Because it makes me
Same.
money, and I love people, and I love helping people. And it confuses and infuriates me when people are chasing money for the sake of receiving the money without doing anything in return. So I think being a lawyer almost kind of like fell into my lap because I was always very charismatic. As far as I can remember, even as a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I never got along with the other kids. I was always sitting at the adult table.
Mm-hmm.
Even at like 11, 12, 13 years old, here's the kids' table. And I was bored out of my mind sitting there. I'm just like, you guys y'all are beneath my station. I'm going to go hang out with more educated folk right over there. Like, not like that, but that's basically what it felt like at times, because it's
Sure.
I just didn't have fun with them. I don't know why. I had fun playing on my own, like with Legos and stuff like that. But as I was growing up, I had more fun listening to the adults speak, and I felt like I learned more there than I did sitting with the kids.
You know what's funny? I'm going to interject real quick. That's
Yeah.
one of the big reasons why my wife and I are so big on homeschooling. I feel like we did the public school system for like second and third grade, but basically our child was going and hanging out with a bunch of school, kids at the same age group, and she was just learning how to be a third grade mental status, and it's important for her to have that, but all the time and constantly she's not learning to move up. So if we incorporate, okay, now you're in a class with a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old, and you've got multiple adults, so you're always learning how to correspond with different age groups and always looking up instead of like just pick boogers and play SpongeBob or whatever.
And that's so important.
Yeah.
Well, good for her, man. You're raising your kid right. I'm jealous.
Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see how they turn out. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. By the way, sorry,
I'll fuck something up, I'm sure.
Didn't notice the donations here. I think Ryan, thank you for the $5 dono. Magic Academy, thank you for the $5, and then $4.99 from Cody. Your videos are beneficial to law enforcement officers as well. Help me keep all my DUI cases.
Yeah.
This year, appreciate. Help me keep all. Is that a typo?
No. He's saying like he doesn't lose his DUI cases because of your videos.
Oh, right on.
He learns how to keep the DUI charge. That's fair.
Whatever floats your boat, Cody. I love it, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep pumping them out. And
that was actually my.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you can also check out LackLuster and his channel. I'm gonna use this opportunity to give a plug in for you. You see his logo is right over. I can't. Where's my hand? My hand is this way. There we go. His logo is right up here. His channel is LackLuster on YouTube, and he's got a bunch of videos where he dissects these First Amendment.
Yeah, if you're a cop, you'll love it.
Channels. What's that?
If you're a cop, you'll love it.
If you're a cop, you'll love it. I detect a hint of sarcasm there, LackLuster. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, check out his channel, LackLuster on YouTube. He's got 249,000 subscribers now.
Pretty close, I think.
What is it's almost on the border of 250,000. I know that.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's amazing. I'm jealous. I'll get there one day.
You'll get there. Yeah, you're right on the anniversary, or you've got your silver plaque coming.
Yeah. I'm at 93,000, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very close, almost, but maybe by the end of the month. But anyway, so yeah, when I was younger, that's what I did, and that's who I hung out with, and I kind of learned that I have a knack for the humanities. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to college, again, because of being a hedonist, I didn't want to slave over and learn. I hated physics. It was the only class, because I love math. Math I'm very good at, unlike most lawyers. I really am an exception to that rule. Not trying to toot my own horn, it's just a God-given gift. But with like physics and formulas and all that, it's because of the pure rote memorization. I just hated it. It's the only class I've ever taken that I started at like the 200 level, and I said, fuck that, and I went to like the 100 level and took the easier one just so, because it was a gen ed, I had to get it out of the way. I couldn't skip it. Like chemistry I tested out of, math, most maths I tested out of, and I didn't have to do most of those, so I focused on the humanities because I love the humanities. And my dad was very well versed in philosophy, so I decided to take a bunch of philosophy courses, and I took so many, I ended up like defaulting into a philosophy degree. And so that added even another layer to like, what am I going to do with all these freaking philosophy credits and a philosophy major? There's really only three options: law school, teach philosophy, or be homeless. Those are basically your three options with a philosophy degree. And so I went to law school, and I can't say I always had like a passion for law, But I will say that law is a good, vocation to transfer into pretty much anything and everything you will ever want in life. A lot of politicians, many past presidents, they're all lawyers.
Yeah.
They all have law degrees, and some of them are even licensed attorneys. So having a JD, a Juris Doctorate, is very, very useful. I just ended up sticking with it because, again, I saw, much like you did, and when you had like your YouTube channel with the gaming stuff, you found a niche, you found a hole, you found a loophole that you can fill in yourself. And that's what I found with law, is that nobody understands in Kentucky how to properly litigate a DUI case. And that's why I did what I did. And again, with the underlying theme of making the client the focal point of my practice, I think this is one of the main reasons why we're doing so well, is because we don't make it about the money. Most lawyers, it's sad to say, you've heard that meme, 99% of lawyers make the rest of us look bad. Let that sink in for a moment. 99% of lawyers make the rest of us look bad.
Yeah.
It's the truth, right? Because you have so many people, so many lawyers who will gladly, clients tell me this all the time. I don't need to call them myself. I already know, because so many clients have told me. They pick up the phone, and the first freaking thing the lawyer on the other end starts talking about is, well, on a guilty plea, we can get you a minimum license suspension or minimum jail time, minimum this, minimum that. The first word, they didn't even barely heard the story. They just heard the charge, and they're already talking guilty plea. And I'm like, how the fuck is that fair to the client? The client wants representation. If they wanted a guilty plea, they can go in and get it themselves. They don't need you for that. And then they take like $500, $750, $1,000 max, and they go in and they take a guilty plea. That's not work.
Ridiculous. It's crazy.
You don't look at evidence. You don't request discovery. You don't review any video. All you read is the citation, if that. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I remember when I started practicing, one of the lawyers that I went to one of the conferences with, he said, when you look up a case of a client, make sure to look up the statute that they're being charged with. And my jaw, I was surrounded by people, but my jaw wanted to drop, because I was like, why are we being taught that? Aren't you supposed to do that from the get-go? I was literally a baby lawyer. I was like 3 months out of law school, and with my law license, And that's when I learned. That was my first introduction to nobody freaking does this, man. Nobody looks up the statute that their client is being charged with. It's crazy. Freaking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Oh, no. I was going to say, my first great experience with the lawyer was I was sent a form. It was literally a court form that needed to be turned in, that I filled out. And what she did is I'm sure she gave it to her paralegal, and had the paralegal take what I wrote on the form and just put it onto the same form, and then charge me $250 for that shit. It's like, what the fuck? And then that was a custody battle. I was aiming for 100%. She got me 50. I fired her after that crap, and then got myself 100 within like 2 months. And she dragged this custody thing out for like 2.5 years. But 2 months after I took over the case myself, done, 100%, bye.
Good for you. And the sad part is, a lot of these lawyers, I get it. We have a lot of clients. You can never say that. Like, they taught us very early on at orientation even, when you are out there practicing law, when a client calls you, they don't give a shit what your personal, professional, or business life is about. You got paid by them. You represent them. You need to know everything you need to know about their case, unless you have like associates and whatnot, and they know, sure. And you may be, filled in on some details, but you don't know 100%. But as far as they're concerned, this is how they painted it, and I'll never forget this picture. When the client calls, you have a desk, and you got a phone, and you got a file folder with the client's name on it, and that's it. Maybe a computer. Maybe you have a computer. Mm. But when they call, they have your phone, you have your computer, and you have the client's folder with their name on it, and there's nothing else on your desk. That's all you have. as far as they're
Yeah.
concerned. And I really respect that. I really understand that mentality, and that's what I've been, practicing since day one. That's why I've gotten the practice that I've gotten, because when I see that I'm getting overloaded and stressed, what do? I hire an associate. It took me a while to get there, and a lot of lawyers, I feel, are so money hungry. And trust me, I know, I've been there. When you're by yourself, I get it. When you get that call and they got the money right there, and they're just like, I want to take care of them, but I can't. I just don't have the. Okay, fine, I'll do it. And then you start suffering. You get anxiety. You get anxious. You get overburdened. You get overwhelmed. And that's when I finally cracked, and I said, you know what? And lo and behold, I will say this. This is a little known secret. When you hire one person, just one other person, you can potentially start making double, triple, quadruple, or quintuple what you were making before, because you have all this extra time now, and the stress goes from 100 to 50. So you just halved your stress, if not more so, but your revenue goes up 2, 3, 4, 5 times full.
I'm actually at that crux as far as the LackLuster channel. My wife does her own videos.
It's a good problem
and
to have
too. Yeah, it's wonderful, and I'm having such a hard time releasing any of the creative aspects or any portion of the LackLuster channel yet. But we have 3 other channels, 5 total channels, and I can't even get 2 of them off the ground yet, because there's just so much. And then if I just had LackLuster, I'd probably sift through 20 different incidents that I would cover on my channel daily. It's just a nonstop in just pouring of content coming at me. I think I'm at a point where I need to hire out and do all that stuff too. So any good video editors, hey, looking.
I'll be on the lookout. A lot of times, the videos that we have, I don't really post that much of that content anymore. I mean, I never really did. I had a couple of DUIs where I received not guilties, and I did post that arrest video just because I think it ties into the case to give a full picture to the viewer. And then I did that one cop that sued me for defamation, which, by the way, that case, I can't really talk about it too much, but all I can say is it has been officially dismissed by the court.
Oh, good.
This was recent. So other than those videos, I don't really post police interactions, even though I have a huge library. I mean, I couldn't tell you, if I were to estimate, I probably have somewhere between 700 and 800 videos of arrests in my library, of old cases, current cases, new cases.
Get on it, put them out, dude. That long form content like that is going like hotcakes right now. Like, I don't know if you know who JCS is, but JCS is a channel called Just Can't Swim, and he does these confession videos with murders, and kind of breaks down the criminal psychology and behavior of the criminal, and or the interrogation tactics and things like that. But his channel is not very old, and it's exploded. And it's these. I mean, I think one of his most recent ones.
Does he represent these people? Is he a lawyer?
No, not at all. He's just.
And that's the problem. These are people who have called me.
Have trusted you to.
Yes, and that's why I'm like, I'm betraying. Why would people want to come to me if then their content is later going to be uploaded to the web and for the public to see? Because that's not public. That's not public. I mean, it is. You can FOIA it. But there's so many steps that have to be taken, whereas now I make it readily available on a very popular channel that has nearly 100,000 subscribers. We just passed 35 million views, and now
just
it's like
slip in a release form into your retainer agreement.
Right? It become like a pseudo Hollywood-esque, I guess. Nah, I don't want to do that. Courtroom work, All day, every day. Why? First of all, it's unique. It's very few and far in between. I like to consider myself a pretty decent lawyer, so it's fun for me to actually, showcase my work, and it draws in attention, it draws in clients. But an arrest video, just for the sake of it being an arrest, and 99.9% of them are really not all that interesting. They're just they're just an arrest.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Liberty Cause. He's a guy from Florida who's been frequenting the channel since day one almost. Really good guy. He says you need to put those videos out. I can't Liberty Cause. I don't want to. I feel like I would be betraying my clients. Otherwise, I would have already done it. You think I'm not stupid, man? I know I have that library. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yasharahla Asa Israel for the $20 dono. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. That's a very cool name.
Not so slim Jim's in the house too. That guy.
Are these some of your viewers over here?
No, I mean, well, I don't know. I'm actually a viewer of Not So Slim Jim. He's had some pretty crazy interactions.
Thank you for the 99-cent donation. I'm going to call you anonymous donor because I'm not pronouncing that on live stream. Do you see that, LackLuster? I am not pronouncing that on live stream.
Little Chone.
But yeah, so I lost my train of thought. Where were we? Well, let's shift gears. Let's shift gears real quick. Before we get to the Q&A here in a little bit.
Sure.
The title of this video, talking about the future. Let's talk about where the DUI guy and where is LackLuster heading? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years with this channel?
I don't know. I've kind of figured out the monetization. It's really difficult getting a channel like mine monetized, because even showing an arrest is like boom, demonetized, and I'm very opinionated in my videos, but if I can be opinionated in an educational way, then it makes it easier to monetize anyway. So if the channel continues to earn a living, then hopefully we'll just continue to ramp it up, and hopefully I'll staff out. I don't know, maybe I'll still always be in it and maintain creative control. But aside from that, outside of the death threats and us moving because of that, we've also been searching for a couple of years now for a homestead. So we bought 45 acres, and we're growing enough food to feed half the chat. We don't have livestock yet, but that's the next step. And we were initially planning on doing a YouTube channel on homesteading, because I guess seeing this like negative cop stuff all day, every day, definitely fucks with your head, right? So
sure.
And granted, it's not even me going through it, but just seeing it and seeing, how many dogs they shoot and how many people they violate, that stuff, it does weigh on you. So I kind of wanted to try to remove myself from it as much as I could without releasing creative control. And that's why I was looking into the homesteading, and then also jumping into some of the like criminal behavior and stuff, which isn't going to help with the mind fuck of it all. But looking to expand into a few different channels, I guess would be the big answer, the short answer.
So let me also add to the question. You said you have 5 channels that you currently manage.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other 4? Are you at liberty to disclose, or?
Sure. Yeah. One of them is just a second LackLuster channel, because I think like a month ago, I got an email and it was like, boom, you're demonetized, your whole channel. And it was like, whoa, what happened? And luckily it was just a glitch. And that was fixed
Oh,
within like
I
an
think I
hour.
experienced that same glitch. Do you
It
post
was,
shorts?
yeah, it was the shorts
Yeah,
monetization
as
glitch.
soon as I hit it,
Yeah.
it immediately
Yeah.
demonetized me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I had a couple of comments immediately, like, "Did you get demonetized? Is everything okay?"
Why'd I
And they
lose my
fixed it.
membership? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the membership pausing exactly. So, yeah,
So that was good. That it didn't happen, but it was a real scare, which is why I was like, man, I need to make sure that I'm covered. So the one of the channels is just a backup channel for LackLuster. LackLuster Limited is the name of that channel. And then we have my wife's channel, and I say I manage it because I do a lot of the editing, thumbnails, and things like that. You know, she's the brain behind it. She makes all the content, and actually now she's started to do some of the editing herself. Um, but yeah, her channel, and then we have a homestead channel, and then we're trying to break into this criminal psychology, style content. We've got a ton of stuff written out about all these weird serial killers and stuff like that. And, we just haven't had the time to pull the trigger on it, but yeah. And then the homesteading channel, I've got
no pun intended.
30 hours of video. Yeah.
The killer's channel, no, pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
Subconscious always playing its own little jokes on us, isn't it?
But I gotta get that homestead channel out. I bought a $40,000 tractor. I gotta pay tons of money on every month, and if I put a video out on it, maybe I can write it off.
$40,000 tractor. So you must be running. What is that, like 140 horsepower?
No, it's only 35.
What?
Yeah.
Where the hell did you get a 35 horsepower for 40 grand?
Well, it's a full cab. It's got AC.
Oh, you're so freaking bougie, man.
Man, where I'm at, it gets real hot and it gets real cold. So I need.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'll take it. But I also. I'm bougie. I'm fine with that, and I don't mind having the air conditioner to floss it.
When
I'll keep my shitty chair, my shitty 10-year-old chair that the fake leather's fallen off.
Oh, I didn't even notice that until you pointed that out. I thought it was part of the design over there.
No, I'll keep this garbage and take the air conditioner for the tractor. But I also have skin cancer, which most of my channel's fans know. So I do have to protect myself.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I
there's
take
my
everything
excuse.
back, man. I take everything I said back. I apologize.
It's fine.
Dude,
Luckily it's the it's basal cell, so it's the non like super life threatening or anything. So it's just something I gotta keep in check.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The reason I asked, because we I tried to guesstimate the price. I should have asked if it was a cab or not. That would have really been the clincher, because adding a cab adds about 25,000 to the price immediately.
And also I didn't mention
hydraulics.
I got it's hydraulic. Just a mid and rear PTO. But I got a bucket on it, which is pretty standard. And then a brush hog, a grater scraper, a wood chipper. I can't remember. I think there's one other implement, but that was all added into that.
Oh, that was all. Okay, all right. That does change the game a little bit. Just because I remember getting a 75 horsepower TT75A from New Holland. My parents got it. I think they paid $26,000, but no cab. It was just it was front hydraulics and rear hydraulics as well with a PTO, but the rear was just kind of, it just raises it a little bit and lowers it a little bit. That's about all you have in the rear. So it's not like full hydraulics for. I mean,
it's a 3-point, right?
3-point. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly right. I forgot what it was called.
People who've never been around tractors have no idea.
They're probably like, what is a TT75 New Holland? Is that a car? Is that a new car? I've never.
I got a 25 horsepower New Holland too. I love the 25.
Yeah.
It's a little baby.
Yeah, it's tiny. I'm thinking like the 75.
That's our lawnmower.
Pretty large, but like The 25 will be tiny. And we went to a farm recently just to kind of look at some sunflower seeds and hang out with some friends. And one of the tractors there that they use for work, I swear to God, these things last forever. I asked the guy, I stopped and was like, do you know what year this is? I think he was just an employee, so he didn't know. It legit looked like one of those 1930s tractors. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that have like the two wheels in the front that are kind of like kissing like that.
Yeah.
And it's like the open, like metallic, like body that's kind of like I don't know, like one of those toy trains that you see.
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
it's ridiculous.
Those things, they're hard to break. You know?
Yeah, and they go by hours, as you know. Tractors don't have mileage; they go by hours, how many hours it has. And I mean, that tractor, if I were to guess, that tractor has like 6,000 hours on it. I would probably be right. And how it's still alive, I don't know.
Yeah. How weird that we got into tractor talk.
Yeah, well, that's where you live now. You have a tractor. We can switch gears. I'm sure Chad is like, "What are you guys talking about? This is not what I came here for. Talking about the future. Talking about freaking tractors over here." So, do you see yourself opening up a new channel? Are you just going to capitalize on a particular channel?
I think I have the most interest in the criminal psychology channel. The homestead channel sounds very interesting because I'd be able to spend a lot more time with my family. Instead of, I'd still be up here a lot doing the editing and stuff, but as far as like the actual farming part of homesteading, I'd be out there doing with them and filming. So that sounds like a lot of fun. So I don't know.
You double dip. You can both, do the work and then post about it, and now the work is done and you're making money off of it. The internet is a magical place, man. I'm telling you, especially with YouTube.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. John Yeager, thank you for signing up as a member. Welcome to Law Novice John Yeager.
I honestly think the next channel that we really go after is going to be the criminal psychology.
I think
my
that's
wife's
a good
real
place.
into it.
Like these, sorry to interrupt, but like those documentaries on Netflix, I remember a lot, like they were going wild over all these killer documentaries and getting inside the killer's mind and to make, maybe
people
remember
love it.
Making a Murderer.
Oh yeah. I mean, you think about that. That's over 10 hours of content for this one case. I love that. For most videos, not all the videos that I make, but most of the really like longer form videos that I make for the LackLuster channel, it's mostly research and scripting and trying to figure out like who, what, where, why, when, what happened then, and trying to piece all these different parts together and scripting it out in a way that I think might be entertaining and might hold somebody's eyes for a little while. But yes, I'm John Bryant. He's my lawyer, not this guy. This guy. No, just because I don't live in Kentucky, but yeah, John Bryan and I are working on something big right now. But yeah, I love those things. My wife listens to them all the time. When she's doing things around the house, she's listening to those murder mysteries. In fact, our channel is called Murdy Misty. That's what we call them in the house here, the Murdy Misty.
That's cute.
I don't know if it's going to stay that, but that's what it is at the moment. But they're really interesting, and especially when you can see somebody's like input on. I personally really like the interrogation tactics and understanding how the cops are using this body language and style of questioning to kind of push somebody over to here, and it's like really manipulative and kind of like you have to be a narcissistic piece of shit to be able to do that to somebody, and so that's interesting in itself. And then like, I
didn't say that. He said that, you guys. I'm just kidding.
Well, you do. It's a really weird skill set.
I won't disagree.
You typically learn manipulation when you're like 3 to 5, and it's usually because you have a parent that doesn't really know how to parent and they kind of cave, and then the kid learns, well, when I do this, the parent caves. And then you just transfer that into your adult life, and use it to sucker criminals into a false confession or legit confession. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something I don't think I have the capacity to do, but it's interesting to watch.
So let me ask you this question, which you've already answered it in like 5 different ways, but I'm just curious for my own sake, and I'm sure chat might be interested as well. What drives LackLuster as a person, not as the YouTube channel, to get up in the morning and like what, like I can hear that you have very good editing, videography, research skills. Obviously that is required with the type of job that you do. Like, for example, do you see yourself becoming just a full-time videographer? Like, I don't know. Let's say Netflix comes to you and says, hey, we love your editing. We want you to come work for us. We'll pay you triple what you're making right now. Like, would you do something like that? What drives you?
No, I probably wouldn't take it, but mostly because like, gosh, at the moment, there's already so much of my content controlled by the powers of YouTube and what their community guidelines are. And it's hard enough to allow myself to conform to those standards. If I said what I really wanted to say, I would be on probably BitChute or one of those platforms, and who knows, maybe I'll end up there anyway. But I think I would be too overly censored, and I don't know if I'd want to sell out for that. But I don't know. I kind of like where it's at the moment. I think expanding what we currently got going on is probably, at least for the moment, my main focus. And it's funny that you asked like what my 5-year, like what I see in 5 years, because obviously you do that all through school, and all through your life. Somebody, okay, write down your 5-year plan. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? My 5-year plan never ends up anywhere near what I wrote about. Never.
But that's not, you see, that's not the point. The point, I think, in life, and I was taught that from a very young age, when I would call, like, I don't know. So my parents, English is like their third language.
Oh, wow.
For me, I mean, it technically is for me too. English and Hebrew I kind of learned at the exact same time, but I was 3. But for me, English, obviously, I've been learning it for way longer. For them, they've started learning English seriously in their late lives. In 2001, they were in their 40s and 50s. So I got the edge. So I was able to. I just lost my train of thought. I had a point there. You were talking about. What was the last thing you said? Sorry.
Too. I don't know. I looked at chat now. I forgot.
I had a very interesting point to make, and now I've lost it.
Something about language.
Language, learning, processing, using language. Bloody hell! What was I going to say? Something to do with the English language.
Who moved my cheese? I want to write it down. I'll check it out, Drake.
What? Oh! I remember. So a lot of times when I had to deal with like credit card companies, if my parents had like an issue, I was always the default, like, hey, can you talk to them on my behalf? Tell them, because when I was younger, my voice was very soft. So I could even say, I'm Julia, which is my mom's name. And I'd say, this is Julia Forman speaking, blah, blah, blah. And I would speak to them as if I am my mother. And the edge that I got with my dad told me this very early on, is deadlines. It's very important. And when you want to get something done from somebody who doesn't want to do it, you have to get a deadline. And same thing in life. Like if you... my fiance has been asking me this. I told her, like,
when are we getting married?
She's
trying to put a deadline on that?
No.
I know. I didn't
on her moving out of her place, I told her, like, babe, let's try and get it by the 1st of October. And she's like, She's telling everybody, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this by the end of the month. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like,
You can't because you say you can't. You'll buy anything you sell yourself.
if you don't make a date, like a plan, if you don't plan a date, it's going to be December and you're still going to have half the shit in the house and you still haven't moved it. If you if you make a date, if you put a date, if you set a deadline, things get done. And that's why they ask you about your 5-year plan, because now you have it in your head. Because, you know, most people, if you ask them what's your 5-year plan, they'll be like, I don't know, because they're just floating through life. You know, they're like this cosmic amoeba, just the conglomeration of cells that's just floating through the cosmos.
Yeah.
I like to see myself, and that's why I asked that question of my employees. I mean, it's a very, very sneaky question, by the way, because when you ask them, I remember doing this interview one time, and I asked the gentleman sitting in front of me, the interviewee, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he said, basically, he all but said having a competing firm against you. Basically, I'm going to learn everything I need from you and then open my own. And I said, okay, well, I'm never speaking to you ever again. Thank you so much for coming in. Why would I create competition? I'm looking for the people who are sitting over there going, 5 years, I'll tell you, I'll be in 15 years working for you and being the top dog in your firm. That's who you want to hire. You know what I mean? Because you want worker bees as the employer. So that's a little sneaky question that we ask. But the beauty of asking that question, you know, when your guidance counselor asks them and all that, is because that puts you on a trajectory. That puts you with a goal in mind. Like, this is where I'm headed. It doesn't necessarily mean that's, like you said, that's where I'm going to end up. I might end up somewhere completely different. I may completely quit YouTube and, you know, become Amish and use this tractor, and this tractor is now going to be making me money because I'll be baling hay for all my neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the future really is, but at the end of the day,
it could go that route.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're talking about homestead and everything, man, I would never be able to do it, but I'm not judging. I totally understand. There are people out there, my friends, who have a garden in the back, and they are trying to get, like, completely off of Kroger and their shopping centers because they want their own fresh food.
Sorry, standing.
Are you adjusting?
I can't sit for too long.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the reasons we want to do the homesteading too. Is like, if supply chains go down, which I feel they inevitably will at some point. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but if it is, I'll be set. Andy won't find my address online. And then besides that, though, like, it's neat that we can go to the store and buy 18 different types of meat, but it's very weird that I don't know how it's processed, where the food came from, and I want to be a lot closer to that, more connected to it. So that's one of our big reasons for it.
I just don't think I could ever slaughter an animal. That's my biggest thing.
It's not that bad.
No. Maybe I love animals too much, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly there's certainly nothing pleasant about it, but
right. I don't think I could ever bring myself to actually. I would have to have someone do it for me. Personally, I don't think I could stomach it. I'm being completely honest.
What I find interesting is the idea of, okay, so there are, if you look at some of the criminal psychology, the behaviors of serial killers from youth forward, a lot of them share the same kind of path, you know, and when they're in their early adolescence, there's a lot of killing of animals and stuff like that. And so people are, like, identifying these kids now and going, like, okay, this kid has fucking potential to be a serial killer. What do we do? So we hook them up on, 18 different types of, I like the number 18 apparently today. Do we put them on all these psych meds and throw them in a psych ward and do this and do that? Or do we teach them how to field a deer or slaughter a cow and, put that, like, maniacal, like, death thing that they're so infatuated with to good use? I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know if it'll go anywhere.
Better to slaughter animals for processing in a plant than humans in your next door apartment building, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and then the question becomes, will they ever get that? It's not a tick. I forget what the word is for that. You said knack. I think there's another word. I don't know if psychosis is taking it a little too far, because that's a medical term, but it's when you what was it that Jeffrey Dahmer said in an interview before he got executed? I think he said, I just had this like this drive, this desire, to kill these people, and it felt good for him to do that. Like that's how bastardized his mentality was. And where did it come from? Was it nature? Was it nurture? Was it a combination of both? Was there something in his child? I mean, I don't know. I haven't researched too much into the minds of serial killers to know the answer to that, but
yeah, me either.
Well, maybe you will now, hopefully, with your new channel, if you'll get a chance to explore that topic. I'm sure Chad and I would love to hear it. Let me give you another plug there. This is LackLuster is joining me here today. I probably should have said it a few more times. I'm sorry about that. I'm a terrible host.
No.
This is his channel logo. His channel name is LackLuster. You can see it right over here, right over there. He's on YouTube. He has nearly 250,000 subscribers. And how many million views do you have, LackLuster?
I don't know.
On the channel. Is it 500 million yet?
No. I don't even think it's hit 100 million.
Really? I don't believe that.
Like 6 to 10 a month.
Let's see.
85.
85 million. 85 million views. That's insane. That is insane. I mean, but it tracks. If you compare that to my numbers, I'm at 35 million with 93,000 subscribers. So if you multiply 35 million by 2.5, you almost get almost exactly 85. So that's interesting. I don't think that's always the case though. Some people have like a lot of subscribers but not as many views, and vice versa.
Yeah, sometimes it comes from like one video and then the rest of the videos die.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a friend who just recently hit 1 million subscribers, and he told me you're gonna hit 100 and then it'll start just taking off like much faster. And so you're like right around the corner from that. And it totally did. Like I didn't believe it, but it just did. And I don't know if it was an effect of like me focusing on the content better and putting more work into it, or I don't know.
I mean, that seems to be the benchmark on YouTube, right? Because there's all these jokes about you get an opal button at like 1,000, then you get like a bronze button at 10,000, and then the silver, gold, and so on. But YouTube only recognizes these days the silver as the first benchmark, just because there's so many channels out there. You can't be sending a $1,000 subscriber opal button to like all these channels. They would lose their mind, I think. Maybe in the early days, I don't know if they did that, but I think you're right. I think something happens. Like there's another channel that I watch. It's called Chess Bra. I have my knack is for chess. I enjoy chess very much.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's my time killer, my guilty pleasure. And this one channel that I follow, Chess Bra, CHESSBRAH. It's these two grandmasters, Amon Hambleton and Eric Hansen, that run it. They hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube maybe, I don't know, a few months ago, and they're almost at your level right now. They're at 200 something right now.
Yeah, just rockets.
I think maybe YouTube kind of recognizes you as an authority channel when you hit 100,000. Like below 100,
I honestly think so, because my
join the fray.
The views opened up, everything opened up. Yeah.
You just become like you're a known entity now. 100,000 is the benchmark. So, hell, man, I'll take it.
Yeah,
This close.
I mean, it's kind of like taking an entry level position, as a janitor and working your way up to CEO or something. You gotta chug along, and then okay, he's been around for 20 years. Let's give him a promotion, type of thing.
I'm not gonna say no to that.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot of work, man. I put in
you put in a lot of work. Sorry.
Stupid amounts of work on this channel.
But hey, that's your bread and butter, right? You don't do anything else.
Yeah, that's it.
You do channels, yeah. Well, we've been going at it for an hour and a half here almost. You want to open it up for questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
well,
chat.
Somebody asked me if I wanted an investor.
If you wanted was that Ryan?
Yeah, what is that?
Ryan asked me the same thing. Ryan just wants to invest in YouTube content creators. I was like, sure, Ryan, I'll take your money. I don't know if I'll give you anything back for it, but I'll take your money any day.
I don't even know how it would happen.
I guess what he wants is like he'll give you 1,000 now, and you can use that 1,000. I mean, if I was small potatoes, I probably would take that offer, because that $1,000 that he gives me now, I can use that towards the channel, and then giving him back, like, I don't know, a 10% return in 6 months or whatever. To give him back 1,100, that would be amazing if I was just starting out. But when you're higher up, you need a whole lot more money. And like right now, I don't even know what I would invest in. I would take his money and invest in real estate. Like, just not tell him. Be like, hey, I invested in the channel. Just go about your way. Leave me alone.
I just give it to my financial advisor.
He wants a portion of the ad revenue in perpetuity. See, that's not a deal that I want to take, because if that ad revenue spikes to like the millions one day, huh?
Yeah. And ad revenue is not consistent,
That too.
It could be
well, I would share the stats with him. I wouldn't like
30 cents.
hide the ball or anything. I would tell him like, look, this month has been disastrous, or this month has been amazing.
I would say if you want to invest in a channel, you got to find small channels, like 5,000 to 10,000 subs, around there. Those are the guys that are probably right around the. If I were trying to invest in a channel, in what I believe to be understood of what you're trying to do.
And it could still be a hit or miss. You see, he wants to invest in obviously ones who are successful. This is the one where you look at the stock market and you were $2 a share 6 months ago, and now you and I are both. I'm like $17 a share. You're like $28 a share, and now he wants to invest, and it's like, no, honey, this is not how it works. You should have invested when we were $2 a share, and then it was a gamble.
Blue chip now.
But now he missed the opportunity. Oh my God, Tracy, I'm gonna delete your message. I swear to God, please don't post that. Oh, I can't do it. This is not my computer. I have two laptops going right now. I have a laptop here and I have another laptop over here, because I lost my two screens and I needed it. Anyway, we're opening. What's that?
Just to answer Ryan real quick, because he did ask. No, thank you. But if you do want to talk about how to invest in other channels, I'd be happy to share some stuff with you that might blow your mind. But yeah, give me an email. It's on my about page on the main channel.
Ryan, if you give me $100,000, I promise to give you at least $1 back on your investment. How about that? All right. Somebody asked, what are we talking about? What's the topic? Questions, folks. Questions to LackLuster. Don't ask me questions. You always have me on this channel. What questions do you have for LackLuster? Not So Slim Jim asks, where do babies come from, LackLuster?
From what I understand is men with guns collect money from hardworking people. And wait, how did they make them in Brave New World again? It was a test tube factory, right? And then so their babies are made in test tubes, and they're made in different variants: alpha, beta, delta, epsilon, and then each It's different. I don't remember. I
So
remember
men
the
with guns
Epsilons.
come and control your property and your life and your freedom and your future, and
Yeah.
then one day there's just more of them.
And then if you need workers to focus on work, what do? They shock the babies when they look at flowers so that they never think of beauty and they just focus on their fucking work.
Shock
That's,
therapy.
that's where we're headed, right? Loud noises.
Chat is very boring today, asking very
No, they're
silly
fun.
questions.
How many hours do
Um,
I spend on 15-minute video? That can be anywhere between
oh, there you go.
6 and 16. It really depends. So sometimes I get thrown a video and it's all right there in the video. Everything is right there, like super easy for me to go through and break down. But like yesterday's didn't do so well, and it's not my favorite one for reasons I probably won't say. But that was over like 4 or 5 different videos, and it was presented to me really unorganized, and so I had to do a lot of digging myself, and then yeah, like the scripting and placing and doing all this weird stuff and then research and stuff. That's yeah. So anywhere between 6 and 16,
Well, that's cool.
typically 6.
That's a lot of time.
Oh, I like that question from Merlin. I get asked this a lot. It's what do I think of the auditors who are rude to police in order to draw reaction? I love it. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite auditors of all time is Clash with Bao, who you guys might know. Um, he's almost immediately fuck you cunt bitch da 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 right off the bat, and I absolutely love it, and here's why. Um, Police are they're obviously human, they're not robotic, and they're not trained in every single situation. And if you throw this sterile training at them where everything they learn is clinical and perfectly clean and white, like hey, you say ID, they say yes, give ID, and they're always happy, and that they're they're only going to understand how to react to those clean situations. So exposing them to that nastiness, without doing anything wrong too, because the nastiness is not, I mean, wrong. Okay, fine. It might violate the NAP in some weird mystical way, but realistically, I mean, it's not against their laws, and I think they should know how the fuck to deal with it. That's my opinion.
There's a
Anyway.
lot
I know
of
a lot of people
lack of training in the police in the United States. And I attribute that to two things. Number one, America seems to simply want, I guess what I would like to call passers. As long as you can pass for the job, you got it. Go get them, Tiger.
Yep.
And we'll worry about the fallout later. And the problem is because the universe tends to have a very everything degrades. Everything becomes worse over time. And if you continue to feed a lesser and lesser grade of an education to a person who's supposed to be carrying a badge and a gun and enforcing laws, that's exactly what you're going to get, is a worse and worse and worse enforcement of same, and a insufficiently trained minds doing the job. Like, for example, in Kentucky, the police, I mean, I've seen these old transcripts. They used to have over 1,000 hours for police training back in the 80s. Then it went down to 900. Then it went down to 700. And I think these days I've seen numbers as low as 600 hours to complete the academy. So not only are they scraping the bottom of the barrel to get some of these guys, they're also getting half of the hours of training that these same individuals did, 30 years ago. Yeah. Now, not only that, now compare it to some other countries. I think, who was it? I think somebody said Switzerland the other day. I believe the Swiss require, if I'm not mistaken, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you know better, but I believe the Swiss require 2 to 3 years. Like you actually go like to get a college degree, only this is a police degree in Switzerland. I believe it's Switzerland. And that's just one example. There are many other countries who do the same thing. Here, it's just, let's get it done faster, cheaper, easier, and we'll worry about it later. And police is just one example. I'm not trying to bash the police here. It's just one example, and it's a very, very important example. Because these are the people who have the right to shoot and kill you if they feel justified in doing so. I hardly can say I've went to a Walgreens and been treated poorly and then almost barely walked out of there alive because the employee tried to kill me, because they have a right to do so. Because they don't. And if they have poor training at the Walgreens or the Walmart or the whatever, the McDonald's, you're just going to get poor treatment and maybe not as good a food or whatever. But your chances of staying alive are pretty much close to 100%. Whereas with the police officer, it narrows down to at least a 50-50, if not less than that.
Right.
There was a question here for you. Is defund the police movement misguided, LackLuster?
I don't know. I've got a weird answer for you guys on that one. I'm not big on statism, so I like no fund for any government agency, and considering police are the most conspicuous form of government, like it's the first line of government that we see, I'm fine with not having them. A lot of people don't like that answer. So if we have to have police for roads or whatever, to collect tax money, so we could build up roads. I build my own fucking roads, by the way. Anyway, but if we have to have cops to collect tax money, because that's what they're there for, realistically, my opinion, then yeah, we need to demilitarize and shift things heavily. Qualified immunity definitely needs to go, or at least be like massively rethought. Covering their own liability insurance, yes, and the unions, yes. I worked for Los Angeles City Fire Department. I was a dual function firefighter paramedic for a number of years, and I worked side by side with Los Angeles Police, LAPD, and I was LAFD. So I know how well the unions work to keep jobs for bad people, and to be completely honest, I was one of them. I'd taken a big fall on the job, and I broke my femur and my pelvis, and that ended up ending my career. But during that whole surgical process, I was off duty getting paid, because I was injured from being on the job pretty severely. But I developed an opiate addiction because of the pain pills that they were feeding me.
Oh my gosh!
And I became a drug addict. Super easy. I didn't even know I was a drug addict. Hey, guess what? You're a drug addict. But dude, and I did so much dumb shit that I shouldn't have while I was off duty getting paid, trying to feed that drug habit, and the union fought for me, and I had no right to be working that fucking job at that point. But and the unions, and all that kind of stuff.
Thanks for sharing, LackLuster. I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, how old are you?
39.
39. You look very young. I think it's the beard that kind of.
It's the weird beard going on.
Creates like a very young face around it. So.
I know it doesn't grow right here.
It just doesn't grow. Period.
Well, I mean, there's a little bit, but it's clear. No,
you don't shave.
I shaved. I shaved everything, my head and my face on June 1st, and I'm going 6 months with no shave at all. Just to see.
How Scottish of you! Very Scottish of you. I think that's the Scots have like a very.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I remember.
It's fucking weird. That's for sure.
Asians can't grow a beard at all. Some countries and some nationalities have patches, and they grow it at different areas in different parts. I don't know. I'm sure it can be analyzed. Thank
Yeah.
you, Kat Buchanan, for the $10. She says, coffee for
Woo.
my two favorite YouTubers. Aw,
Nice.
thank you, Kat. And then we also got $5 from Willie Czar. He says, going back to the topic of police training, we need better screening, more training. Police insure themselves like I have to for my job. And I believe to answer that question,
Yeah.
actually, they do have
I
insurance.
have to pay on all my lawsuits.
The city
Oh,
insures
do
them.
they really?
Like they're insured by the
Oh,
city.
yeah.
So if they commit an offense, the
But,
city
but,
pays for
but
it.
that's
But
not really them
you and I, basically.
insuring themselves. That's us doing
Right.
it. And I think
Taxpayer
I
money.
think that's the question: is should they have
Their
to
own
pay
personal
for their
insurance?
own
I
insurance?
agree. I agree
And
with
then
that. Yeah.
yeah, like and then 3 strikes and your insurance gets dropped, you no longer have a job. Type of thing would be great, or less than 3 strikes even. Somebody asked if I would recommend they go into the military as an officer with a bachelor degree. That would make you an officer instantly. But again, going back to my previous answer where I said I'm not so much of a status, I was also in the military, so I find my past troubling myself. But I don't know, dude. Today's military is not what people imagine it is. Like, we're not fighting for freedom, we're nation building, and I think that's complete bullshit and super evil. And I think we kill a lot of people unjustly, and we are in a lot of places that we don't belong. So I would say don't join the military. But having been in the military myself, it has benefited me greatly. So it's hard to stand on a platform in which I'm benefiting from and talk shit about it. I don't know. That's my honest answer.
Are you ready for a philosophical question, LackLuster?
Okay. Sure.
I remember just before I ask it, Dub is the one that asked it in the chat. Well, I'll ask the question first. Without cops, don't we have anarchy like Mad Max 2? And I remember, who was it? It was David Hume. David Hume, I don't know if you're familiar with the philosopher. He talked about, David Hume had a concept, very much like Dub is mentioning, Mad Max 2. He called it the state of nature. The state of nature.
Yeah.
He believed that humans were naturally aggressive, murderous psychopaths, where if we don't have laws to tell us not to kill, not to eat each other, and so on, then we would basically go like on a murderous rampage, which he called the state of nature, where we would basically revert back to not even animals. This is beyond animals, because animals have laws. They have the natural law follows, orders them around. The instincts is what we like to call it. So like we created law, since we've deviated from instincts so far, we have a conscious mind and consciousness is unpredictable. We needed laws to put our conscious mind in check. So David Hume believed that if you do not have laws and have this check and balance on the conscious mind by a governmental entity, we would all be out there basically murdering each other just for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
he
true?
might have
Do
been
you
the
think he
same.
was right? What do you think about that topic?
I don't know. It sounds very similar to the whole like you can't have ethics without religion argument, or like one can't exist without the other. I think I think humans existed pretty well. Here's the thing. As far as anarchy goes, I think no matter what. Okay, first off, let's look at the government. Right, the government is just a mafia. It's one big controlled mafia thug that says, hey, we're going to take your money so that we can protect you. And if you don't give us your money, then we're going to fuck you up. Get it? And they'll smash your windows and whatever. It's the same thing the New York mafia thugs were doing back in the day. And I mean, that type of behavior has and will continue to be till the end of time. That's just, I think there are just groups of people who will use power in the wrong way. And unfortunately, at the moment, the world is ruled by governments that do that for us. So it's not wise guys running around with Tommy guns, but instead it's cops and AR-15s, which might be more dangerous. I don't know. I think so. But with that in mind, I think if you went into this anarchy thing, I think you'd always fall into some sort of like small communities would form. And it would just be, the same thing as little sovereign nations, and they would just be our communities. Like my street out here, I'm very secluded, but I have maybe 10 neighbors within a mile of me, or a couple miles of me, or something. And I'm sure if there was no government to answer to, and there were no cops or anything, I would communicate with them for milk, or I would trade my beans for their meat or something, and somehow we would form a small community, and then we would help each other build each other's roads, which we do currently. And all the makings of government would again begin to assemble naturally. And I think that's happened over and over and over again throughout history. You go anarchy to government, anarchy to government, anarchy to government. It's just a cycle.
No,
I don't think it'll ever sustain
point.
itself in any specific way. And it's like that. And
Humans
I think
are naturally driven towards community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that cycle of like anarchy to government has always been, it just circles around. And I think it lines up really well with the whole like strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create hard men, or strong men, whatever you want to say. But I think those two like things lock into each other and just move. And yeah, we're definitely a tribal species.
Right. And I very strongly, personally disagree with David Hume's premise myself. I do not think that we would default to this individual murderous creatures to try and, kill each other over a loaf of bread, which he alluded to. I think Liberty Cause even mentioned that, I don't know if it's a good example, Liberty Cause. He mentioned the colonists, that they didn't have a form of government. I'm not 100% sure that's true, because they were still under the authority of the king, King Henry or George, whoever it was at the time, at the tail end of the 18th century. I think it was King George. Anyway, that was still a form of government. The form of government was monarchy. That's still a form of government. So they're under the authority of the king. Even though they were thousands of miles away, they were still subject to his rule until they committed treason and wrote their own constitution, formed their own country. They're like, he's not going to be able to sustain it, blah, 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 the rest. But if you were to, and think about it, like just a few years before, across the globe, in France, Marie Antoinette and... Huh?
Kidding.
Sorry, what did you say?
So the Earth's flat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
I said...
Thank you for catching that. Across the plains in Europe, Marie Antoinette and what's his name, Louis was it the 13th or 14th? I forget. He and her were getting slaughtered and getting their heads chopped off because the people revolted. The people were unhappy with their monarchy, and so they slaughtered the king and queen and took over.
Was that the French Revolution, right?
That's the French Revolution, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like 1799 is when it happened, if I'm not mistaken. Digging back into my brain with all these historical facts. But even as recently as 2007, I believe 2007 or 2008, and nobody talks about this. Nobody in the United States has really made it public because no government, it's not just America. I think it's pretty much every country except where it happened. Iceland had its own, and I don't think it's very much a mini. It was a pretty major revolution in Iceland where they hung and imprisoned a bunch of politicians and bankers. The people did. It was a full-blown revolution. If you do your research on this, you'll be able to see that this happened right under our noses, and nobody, say nobody noticed. Oh, everybody noticed. That matters. The people were not told about it because you don't want to publicize, revolutions of the people uprising against the government. The government is not interested in telling you about that. That's obvious. It would encourage more of that. But it did happen, and I think a few countries in South America have gone through that as well in the last 20, 30 years. So, and that's basically what I think the cycle you were talking about. A government becomes too strong, too powerful, too ambitious, and the people come in and take over. And one might think, well, isn't the big bad government, isn't it armed to the teeth? How are you going to go up a full-blown military? Well, don't forget, the military can also turn on your side with you against its own government. And that's what happens in a lot of these countries. I mean, some of them, they have to create their own militias. They have to create their own revolutionaries. But
not only that, nobody's
military people
ever...
defect.
Yeah, nobody's ever defeated Afghanistan. I mean, just about every major empire in history, known to the history of man, has tried to fight Afghanistan, and every single one of them has lost. And the weird coincidence is that they have all fallen as empires after their defeat of Afghanistan. So we'll see what happens. We might be the outlier, but yeah, something that really interesting that I learned about the French Revolution recently was because I was trying to learn more about fiat currency and blah, 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 crypto stuff. And apparently so a lot of people had precious metals, gold, silver, whatever. And they didn't make having or using gold and silver illegal. They made receiving it illegal. So if you were a shop owner and you received gold for your products, then that's what they bring you out to the guillotine. It's kind of weird. Ooh.
So you couldn't get paid for your work in precious metals? I'm sorry, I lost you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. So how would you get paid for your labor?
I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it.
Like French currency, like what do they have over there in France? The franc?
I don't know. I have no idea, but that was a long time ago too. It was kind of a weird, one of those like history lessons that I took that little one-off, interesting to know type things. So.
Let's see what else. Chat, do you have any more questions for LackLuster before we close it out here? Let's take two more. What do you say, LackLuster? We've been here almost 2 hours now. Let's do the Livre.
What do I think of the 2A? I don't know. I think it's really weird. Here's the thing. It's like a lot of people talk about the Constitution and rights. I know I do on my channel too. But I think it's funny that a lot of that most people when they think about their rights, they think about a piece of paper that other men wrote. Like no man can give you those rights, right? So you just being born, you have the right to defend yourself. And no other man should be able to tell you what you can or cannot own. That's what I think of the 2A. I don't think the Constitution holds up for much.
And to add another layer to that question, what do you think about the 2A auditors? Have you seen many of those videos?
Yeah. Like who's it? Soloyaker and all them. I dig it. I mean, it's a weird thing, and it goes back to like depending on a piece of paper that was written in the 1700s to grant you rights, and I feel like you have them regardless of that piece of paper. So
no,
and it's kind of weird that
unless you're in Great Britain,
people,
right?
Yeah, or Canada or anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
Then it's even worse. But yeah. The way I see, exactly, liberty costs. I see the Constitution not even as like giving any rights or anything, but as more so like a peace treaty between us and the government. It's the government saying, we promise we won't violate these rights. So it makes them not rights, they're privileges, because they
Okay, George
hold
Carlin.
the right. Does George say that?
I thought you were quoting him.
Oh no, this is a conversation we had with my wife earlier today, because we were talking about how driving is a privilege, and that's a fucked, because I had a speeding ticket in Colorado a year and a half ago, and I fight every ticket no matter what, even if I'm guilty. That's just my motto. And it's probably yours too.
Hey. No
but
comment.
I won it and it got dismissed during COVID and they never filed the dismissal or something. So now my license is suspended, but I've already moved out of the state. And so of course it's government and there's
Mm.
like hardly any recourse with anything government because it's just a thug.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many times I call and leave messages for their reinstatement guy, I've I've yet to receive a call back. It's been a month and a half. So now I have no driver's license because of something that got dismissed that they failed to act on, you know. It's like,
Because the right
but
arm
anyway,
failed
that's
to
the
communicate with
privilege
the
of
left
driving.
arm. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where we got into it. That it's a privilege, and it's like, why is driving a privilege? I
It's a
understand
list
I
of
wouldn't want
privileges
some people
that
to drive.
can be, and this is, I absolutely agree with you. And I think I brought it up on my channel
Yeah.
one time, and there were a few commenters on there like, what do you mean? This is something that I will always have. I'm like, oh yeah, well, ask the Sudanese how they feel.
Yeah,
Um, ask the, um, where was Pinochet? Not Brazil. Was it Argentina? I think it was Argentina. Ask the Argentinians how they feel about their Bill of Rights, or their constitution or whatever entity. It's a piece of paper, just like the money.
Yeah.
As long as enough people believe in it, it exists. But as soon as, I mean, when the Constitution came into existence, before it was written, it didn't exist.
you know something else interesting about rights is that there are actually two types of rights, and most people have maybe never heard this, but there are negative rights and positive rights, and that doesn't mean they are bad and good. Negative doesn't mean bad. Negative is actually my favorite type of right. Negative rights are basically like the freedom of speech. It requires nothing of you. So it's my freedom of speech is a negative right. It requires nothing of anybody for me to be able to utilize it. Positive right is something like healthcare, where you have a contract with a healthcare professional, and if I am hurt, now you have to work on me. So that, like, what we're seeing in today's like America is that they're trying to take away the negative rights, your freedom of speech, your Second Amendment, your search and seizure with Patriot Act, and all the negative rights that are just like, no, duh, I was born. Why don't I have that? They're trying to take those away, and then they're trying to add all these positive rights, forcibly force healthcare, give free healthcare, free school, free this, free that, free things that require something from other people. That's why I think this country kind of got fucked up.
I see your point. And we
But
see
like
it
the rise
every
of
day.
communism
And
that happened.
it's,
Yeah.
just like we talked about the erosion of the police force. And I see this every day, unfortunately, in the courtrooms, the erosion of, because what are lawyers? What are criminal defense lawyers? We are the gatekeepers. We are the protectors of the Constitution. When a constitutional right gets violated, it is our job to put the police officer, the judge, the prosecutor in their place. That's our job. Now, if only 1% of us, and that's probably a good estimate of how many lawyers actually litigate and try and fight, as scary as it may sound, about 1%, maybe 2%, is being generous. What about the other 98, 99 who just roll over and do not protect constitutional rights at all? I mean, what happens? Over time, you get an erosion of your rights because police officers learn that 99% of the time, I'm going to get away with it. And screw that 1%, so I'll lose those cases, but the other 99, either they're going to plead guilty, or they're not going to hire a lawyer, or they're going to hire a crappy lawyer. I mean, there's just so many ways for them to win, and the one time they actually get a good lawyer, okay, well, I'm going to lose those. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Who cares? So we're supposed to be the gatekeepers, and if we're not doing our job, that piece of paper gets eroded more and more over time, and we're certainly not helping it. At least the ones that are not fighting. Obviously, I know I'm the exception to the rule, and it's scary, LackLuster. I will say this. It's scary that doing your job is now an exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
And not just in my profession, pretty much every profession.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you heard of a surgery gone wrong, or a person given 2 medications that are counteracting against each other when they're not supposed to be given the 2 medications in combination, or countless of other mistakes that people are doing with people's lives?
Yeah.
And it's, privately owned businesses, government owned businesses, who cares? It's just, everything is so screwy these days.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Oops.
Yeah.
Is it worth being laughter? I don't know. Somebody asked, who was it, Rob? I think a couple of people asked me to answer. And I don't really know how to answer that, Rob. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I've been trying to think of it.
What's the question?
The question was, what parts of society protect us the most?
Oh.
I don't know. Man.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I like that you included media in the examples, but
the court of public opinion.
The judicial branch is all but fucked us with, all sorts of crazy ass rulings that have, like Larry says, have eroded our rights over time, or eroded our man-given privileges. That's what the Constitution should be. It should be retitled as our man-given privilege paper.
Oh yeah, so
sorry, I know people get like real.
George Carlin
about the Constitution
made a joke about. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I should probably preface it with this, of George Carlin. I think I've listened to just about every piece he's ever put out. Like, that's how extreme I was when I was younger. And he put out like 13 HBO specials and a bunch of other ones that he had back in his earlier years. And I've watched or heard or both every single one. So I'm very intimately familiar with his mindset and his style and his evolution from a very young comic, talking about the universals, going political and going to the extremes in his last special. And his next to last special. So in one of them, he actually talks about, I think it was either his last or next to last, where he discussed that the Constitution is just a list of privileges that are granted to you by this governmental entity. Which, think about it for just 5 seconds. I'm gonna pose an extreme example for you. Okay, let's say China decides to invade the United States. Okay, China just says, fuck you guys, we're tired of you, we think we have a larger army, and we're going to fuck you up. And they begin invading, okay? And they, unfortunately, I know this would never happen in a million years, but in this hypothetical scenario, they overpower our military. And our country is brought to its knees. What's going to happen? Do you think the Chinese government is going to honor that piece of paper that was signed 250 years ago? Of course not. They're going to institute their own communist regime. They're going to create their own whatever ARPANET that they have over in China. Once they take over, your constitution means diddly squat.
Yeah.
All it takes is a change of government. Or let's make it an even a more realistic scenario. Let's say it's got to be Texas, right? Texas creates an army, its own army, and goes against the big bad U.S. government. Again, if there is a revolution, God forbid, and
we don't even need to really go like that extreme.
I'm trying to go extreme, we can just to show how little that piece of paper means. But go ahead.
No, but we can look at things that have already happened. The Patriot Act, Terry v. Ohio, all the massive violations of the Fourth Amendment. My opinion. What is it? Illinois versus Caballos, with the dogs searching your car no matter what. My opinion, violation of the Fourth Amendment. Every gun law, violation of the Second Amendment. That piece of paper means nothing. They don't give a fuck about your rights. No politician truly gives a fuck about your individual right. The only person that can is you. I hope you have rights. I hope you fight for your own rights, but nobody's gonna fight for them for you, and I can't do it for you anyway. But yeah. Can't even yell fire in a crowded theater.
Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I forgot to say that the entire freaking stream. I'm an idiot.
Oh, it's fun. It was a good combo.
Yeah, I got so into it, man. This has been great. I swear to God. I don't think we've ever had like a full-blown conversation like this. I definitely want to do it again, LackLuster. Once again, you guys,
absolutely.
Thank you so much, LackLuster. His name is right there. I'm pointing at it. It's on the Zoom call. His logo is right over there. LackLuster is his channel, LackLuster on YouTube. Almost at 250,000 subscribers. He's about to launch into space with that channel, you guys. So I've been having a great pleasure having you on the channel, LackLuster. I've had so much fun speaking to you and picking your brain, as I'm sure our viewers have enjoyed that as well.
Yes, likewise. Thank you for having me on, and it was really, really. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was typing in a comment to Zafael. I sucked at playing video games, and the channel was originally a video game channel, and so all I did was rage, and people loved it, and for some reason it held an audience. But I named it Lackluster Gaming was originally, because it was like mediocre gaming.
I guess one final question: why Lackluster? What drove you to? Because
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When
I
you
just
hear that
sucked.
name, doesn't it have like a negative connotation?
Yeah, I sucked at playing video games, and so I named it Lackluster Gaming.
Lacking in vitality, force, or conviction, uninspired or uninspiring. I mean, but I love that. It's almost like you took that word and you like reversed it. Now, being a successful
I made that
YouTube
shit
channel.
a noun.
Do what?
I made it a noun.
Yeah, you absolutely did. You took it from a verb to a noun. Or, wait, not verb. To have
like
lackluster is adjective, right?
I believe so.
I don't know. I never took English in grade school. I just learned it. But anyway,
cool.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Lackluster. I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day editing videos and creating. I noticed how the lighting went from because we started it was still bright outside and now it's like pitch black, dark out there. I think it's here too. I just have my window closed.
Yeah, there's no lights outside. You can't see shit but stars. It's great.
I love
it. Gives you a
living in a
hint
ranch.
on
I remember
posts I'm on.
enjoying those. Yeah, no, it's really nice. I hope you enjoy it out there, man. And again, thank you for joining. And
thank you so much.
I will be signing off, you guys. Chat, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday for this special live stream in my new setup. As you all can see, I'm going to be streaming from here from now on. We're going to be transitioning into the new office. So hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll be streaming from there. I'll keep you guys posted. I had a lot of fun. Thanks again, everyone. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Liberty Cause, email me. All right.